Music Business, What Is This? Is a podcast that focuses on the ever-changing music industry and presents issues and concerns that the average and above average musician has or will encounter. Hey, it's Music Business today. I'm Richard Johnson.
I'm Jeremiah Hunt.
And today we're going to talk about what do you wear to a gig? That's right, bling bling. What are you styling? What are you profiling? This is always a question of the gig and the musician. Mm-hmm. For you, how do you determine what you wear to a gig when you have full authority over choosing? Because every gig you don't.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, well, if it's not my gig, of course I defer to the band leader.
Okay, so do you ask?
I do ask.
Okay, so you do ask.
I do. Well, no, that's a lie. I don't ask every time. I'll wait for them to tell me.
Okay.
What to wear. And if I have it, then I'll wear it. If I don't have it, then I'll wear something close, or I'll just go out and buy what I need.
Okay. It's funny you say that. It immediately makes me think of a story. So I play with this vocalist, and my very first gig with her, I played at the venue a lot of times. So, I had on a suit. It was a jazz gig. I was clean, walked in, tailored suit I had made in the Middle East. Walked in, and everyone else in the band had on black. Yeah, and I did not have on black. It wasn't like pink or fluorescent or anything, but it was a dope kind of brown tannish outfit.
A little different.
Yeah, it was a suit.
Yeah.
But it wasn't crazy, but it was obvious when everyone else has on black.
Right.
Right. And she had assumed that I knew it was all black because she was the leader and wasn't wearing all black.
Oh.
But I didn't know it was my first gig.
Yeah.
So, I was told quietly, I played great, but you need to wear black.
You are not the musical director.
Exactly. I was like, oh.
You're just like everybody else.
Exactly. I was like, oh, okay. All right, I guess I played well.
Yeah.
That's what I just left with thinking. Okay, so back to what you were saying about the dress.
Yeah, so, of course, I'll divert to the band leader if whatever they tell me to wear, whatever they ask me to wear. If it's my situation, I usually tell everyone to just wear something nice.
Nice. Okay.
And I'll try to give a good explanation of where we're playing and what the vibe is going to be.
Okay, because wearing something nice, that's open to suggestion.
It is.
Right.
To a certain degree, it is.
Right. So you're hoping that they take the cues that you're giving from the venue. Okay. That can be risky.
I also know some band leaders who would say wear something presentable, and then they'll send a picture of something that they're wearing.
I've never had that happen. So they send a picture.
This is this is what I'll be wearing. And
okay, so that leads me to ask some other questions. Okay, first of all, actually a lot of questions. Did they just take the picture? My first question. Second of all, do they have photos of all their clothes and different outfits that they can send musicians? My brain starts to think, I don't want to say it's weird, but I've never seen this. So do they have a collection of photos? I'm going to wear this on this gig in 3 weeks.
I think they do. I think some people do have a collection of outfits where it's just like, all right, for this style of gig or for this jazz gig, this is like the attire that I want my band to wear, or something similar to this.
Okay.
Rather than on a festival gig, we should wear something like this.
Okay, so do you do the same thing for a female?
Yeah, I think colors. Like the most important thing to correspond with would be the colors for a female. Obviously, she would wear something different in terms of if it was a suit, I wouldn't want a female to wear a suit on my gig. I want her to wear a dress or something that is.
Because there's gigs There's big bands out there now where they have female suits.
It's true. Yeah.
You know, so they're wearing a jacket and pants, and it can work. You know, some looks good, some not so good, but it can work.
It definitely can work. But I like to highlight, the different individuals. Like I like to highlight the female.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
So I want her to wear something different. Unless you would want to wear a suit. I mean, everyone has free reign of what they can wear. Sure. You know. Well,
no, they don't. It would be nice.
Let me retract that statement. Everyone does not have free reign to what they.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the gig and the band leader,
right?
Because there's some band leaders that do not want you to outdress them.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I think that really was what my situation came down to. I wasn't trying out. I was just putting on the clothes I got made, showing up to the gig and do the gig and leave.
Yeah.
But that's what it came down to.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to address that. And I think that's where the formality a lot of time is. Some people say, I don't want you coming in crazy colors, which is true. There's some people who may do that. So you do want to avoid that. And that's an easy way to do it. But behind that, it also could be you don't want to be outdressed.
Right.
For me, I don't have a problem if somebody outdresses me.
Yeah.
It's never a problem for me. And my thinking is, if I play enough piano, it's not going to matter. Somebody might look and say, oh, I like their outfit, and that's cool. That doesn't bother me. Mm-hmm. But if I put some musical damage down that they're not going to forget, they're going to think about that. Even if it's at the same level, I've made my statement musically.
Right.
So for me, that it doesn't really bother me.
Right. Yeah, the first, I feel like the first impression people get when they see a band is obviously what they have on.
Yeah, how they're dressed.
Oh, this person might be the leader. This person, But ultimately, I think that lasting impression is going to be how you sound. Because if they're coming to hear the music, then it's like you can tell energetically who's leading the band, and it ultimately it won't matter.
Yeah. You know, one of the things about dressing alike, that's always in the back of my mind, and it's with the color black. It doesn't bother me for some reason with white. Like if I see salsa bands, it's like, okay, cool. They look like a band. Okay, they're in all white. But when you're playing in certain venues, most venues, and you have on all black, you could be in the band, you could be a waiter, you could be a security guard, you could be anything. Right?
Yeah, true.
You are playing music, but I've had people come up to me and say, oh, we need more water.
I was just going to get yes.
Yeah, and I'm like, why would they think that? And then I look at myself and I was like, well, I can't really argue with that. You know, and it's specifically with the color of black. Like when it's all white or gray or blue, people don't see you as staff, as customers.
Right.
You know, so I think it comes down to how the band leader envisions the group overall. And that anatomy can sometimes come back and bite you. You know, now it's different if you're playing at a Broadway show.
Right.
The reason is it's a Broadway show. It's what's on stage, you know, even though you're in a pit. Yeah, so there's reasons for that. But when you start to remove that from the band, it doesn't mean they're going to play differently. But at the same time, you have to think about how the people are viewing your band.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you may want to think about that.
Yeah.
And it may be requested, you know, if you're playing for an office party, then yeah, it's part of the contract or the deal. So in your wardrobe, do you have different outfits set up for different gigs, or how does it work for you?
No,
because you wear some cool stuff. I've seen you. You got necklaces like this one you got on now. There's certain little additives you put on that people notice.
Yeah.
So there's obviously some thought that's gone into it.
Yeah, there's I have specific clothing that I wear, but I don't. I don't choose based off of the day or based off of what gig it is. I just go off of how I'm feeling that day. I'm like, this is what I'm gonna wear, unless it's like my birthday or something like that. And if I have a gig on my birthday, then I'm gonna obviously look, like a star.
Okay, so do you think certain styles of music have a look and a clothing look?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that they have changed over the years too.
Okay, and that's what I was going to ask, the change. So if someone says to you a gospel choir is coming in, what do you envision?
Well, back in the day, robes.
Robes. That's the first. Even now, I think of that. They're going to have on some kind of red and black robe or blue and purple or something.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's not as common.
Yeah, nowadays it's not.
Yeah, but you will still see some kind of uniformity.
Right.
Right. Whether it's a red shirt and black pants or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about country music?
Country music tends to be a little bit more like jeans and the guys will wear collar shirts. What do you call them? Plaid? Yeah. Short shorts for the girls, boots.
Okay.
Okay,
so you're thinking like in the 70s, Dolly Parton.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, there may be just an age thing, like demographic, like what we've seen on movies, television, and time periods. But I think that's changed too, especially in the past 5-6 years,
right? As
the music has changed.
Yeah,
when you look at a certain style, country using more elements of hip hop, and elements of different racial backgrounds has changed it. So I think that's constantly. I think the era and the time actually affects the clothes. To a certain degree. Now, of course, you have those hardcore, or maybe not hardcore, but traditional. Right. People that in the choirs want to keep the robes, and outside in country music want to keep the boots and the spurs and the hat.
Right.
And, but it doesn't really make an effect on the music.
Right.
What about rock?
Rock.
Yeah.
I never really thought about that. I mean, that could be very expansive. I mean, yeah, it could. It's a variety.
It's a variety, but there's still a clear look.
Yeah, I think there is. I haven't really thought about it that much. What do you think?
Well, for me, when I think of rock, I mean, I grew up in the 80s, so I'm thinking MTV.
Oh.
So I'm looking at the hair, the spikes, the ripped T-shirts.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That comes to mind.
The what do you call them? Tank tops.
Yeah. Shirt with the vest.
Right.
That's what comes to mind immediately for like hardcore rock. Now, of course, there's different genres, different types of bands, and that has changed over the era. But if you go to any search engine and type in rock and just start looking at the visuals, you'll see a theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes a lot of makeup.
Yeah.
Depending on the group. Jazz.
I think that for me, obviously, because I'm ingrained in the jazz scene here and just around the world, I think that has probably been a genre that has changed the most as far as uniformity. You don't see it too much nowadays, although there are still some bands out there that still wear suits, and they're all uniform, you know.
Yep.
But I think now there's a more modern look of where, it could be mixed with jeans and like a nice shirt. Jewelry.
Okay. Yeah, I think what you're talking about, I agree, but we tend to see that look more with smaller groups.
True.
Like, how many times have you seen a big band that free and open?
No, not really.
Yeah, even really today you don't see that.
Yeah.
Usually if there's more than 11, 12 people, there's some kind of uniform. I mean, doesn't have to be. A lot of times it depends on the venue.
Right.
But in general, if you get to the point where you're hiring that many people, there's usually some kind of uniformity to it.
Yeah, true.
Now with the smaller group, it used to be where it was a small group, it was the same clothes. Right? And I think a lot of that with the musician in general, we're talking about jazz, but just the traveling musician, it's a logistical thing.
Right.
Like, unless you're Miles Davis with Trailers or Prince or somebody.
Right.
How are you going to carry around all these different changes of outfits? And how much can you take, especially with airlines a day? So you have to get real creative with that element of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the small groups, you've seen it change a lot. I remember going on tour with Herbie, and I remember asking him, he had one carry-on, and it was like a small carry-on. We're on the road. It's like, yo, where's your gear? Like, I didn't say it the first day or the first week, but I realized he was wearing the same thing, pretty much black every night, black. So I asked him.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, I asked him about it. He was just like, man, at this point, I'm good. I can wear it, I have a couple different changes of the same thing. I get to the hotel, I have them wash it, I get it, I can keep it with me. I don't have to worry about the stuff getting lost. I don't have to spend my time thinking about it.
Yeah.
Now, I think depending on the venue, if it's an outdoor event, put on a jacket, or depending on who's there, how much time, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But that's what I noticed on that tour. Of course, things change over time. But does the selection of your clothes that you pick or that you've seen in general, does it take you a lot of time? Like before you do a gig, how much time do you invest in?
And choosing the clothes?
Yeah.
1 minute.
Yeah, right. I'm the same, if not less than that.
Right.
It might be 20 seconds. Because in my brain, I already know what's in my closet, what I liked, what matches with what. So it's just a matter of going, picking it out, and putting it on.
Right.
Now, I have some friends, they spend hours, and relatives, hours, figuring out what to put on for a gig.
Yeah.
Right? Because they want the look to be everlasting as the music. And I totally understand this. But it's just a question of how much time do you have to do that?
Right.
Now, do you think it's different for men and women?
Yes.
Okay, why is
I
it?
do. Because I think in general, men have a less of a harder time figuring out what to wear.
Okay, do you think that's because of quantity of time, quantity of clothes, care about it? Why is it?
I just think that there is a lack of caring. In general. I mean, obviously you still want to look the best that you can. Anybody wants to look the best. But I think that we as men have less attention to detail. Especially when it comes to what the event is for. Okay.
Now, this is a conversation I've had a lot in my household and with friends. And the argument I've heard is that a guy can wear the same trousers over and over and over, and people won't complain if they notice, and if they don't care, they still don't complain. And they can wear the same, not just trousers. That's an example. It could be a jacket, shirt, tie. They could have 2 or 3 of each and just rotate them over and over, and nobody's going to say anything. If a female does that, leader or not, people notice. What do you think about that argument?
If a female wears the same thing?
Even if it's not day to day, if they have an outfit, let's say they have 5 gigs a week, and then in 3 weeks they wear one of those outfits.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Because she already stands out for the fact that she's a female. So if there's an image that's going to be produced in the person's head. When the more they see that image, you know,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I get it. So yeah, this is it's an interesting topic.
Yeah.
Because people see us before they hear us. Right? And if you look like trash, doesn't mean you're going to play like trash. But now you have this other hurdle to get over.
Right.
And depending on the establishment, hopefully they've brought it up or you've talked about it before. That's not an issue.
Right.
Right. If there's a uniform or a jacket is needed, or no jeans or dress shoes or no tennis shoes, because I've seen this come up a bunch of times. And there's certain venues today you're not walking in if you're not dressed like a suit or a skirt or something in that realm. No tennis shoes. They'll tell you what's not allowed.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it is an issue to be aware of, because that could hurt if you're asked to come back. They may say, hey, this person didn't dress right. We're not asking them back, period. Doesn't matter how good you play.
Right.
Right. So that little detail to you is a big detail to someone else, especially a club owner, because now you have someone else in the club looking at a band on stage that's not dressed appropriately for the venue.
True.
Okay, so that brings us to the close of this episode. I think we may have to revisit this topic with some help to get some other perspectives. So thanks for joining in, checking us out. I'm Richard Johnson.
I'm Jeremiah Hunt.
And this is Music Business.
What is this?
We'll see you later.
Peace.
This program is partially supported by a grant from the Illinois Arts Council Agency.